This week, Cody Hawkins out on campus, not in football gear. We'll find out why.
And CU volleyball versus the North Carolina Tar Heels.
And would this be the winning field goal against West Virginia, or would it be this one? All that and more coming up on CU Sports Mag. And welcome to this edition of CU Sports Mag. I am Adam McPherson alongside Kevin Rash. Now, Kevin, Thursday night, West Virginia football at Folsom. Unbelievable.
I'm still excited right now. But before we get to the game, we have to get to the fans before the game. So you guys should check that out right now.
I think we're going to do pretty well, actually.
It's the blackout, so, I mean, that's like real, bad omen for them.
I think the Buffaloes are going to stomp on them.
I mean, West Virginia's pretty good. Their offense is really good. But, I don't know, CU's done. I mean, I like what we've done this year.
Plus, it's a huge deal. I mean, obviously the blackout game, and so we're going to have tons of school spirit, and I think that's really going to boost them.
Folsom Field, pretty hard place to play at for any team.
And I think everyone's going to be really into it in the stadium, and I think it's going to be going good for us.
They are getting fired up. They're ready to go. Ralphie 5, also known as blackout. I think it's very appropriate. She's running. Enough of this. Let's just get straight to the game. Cody Hawkins, first possession, passing it off to Rodney Stewart. He just cannot go down. The kid's small. He's moving quick. Next pass. Hawkins dumping back to Josh Smith. He has a big gain for a first down. Hawkins again. He's going to lay it up. Going deep, looking for the end zone. It might be. That's right. Josh Smith for the TD. Doing a little dance. He's happy. Buffs up 7-0. Fans are happy. Now, West Virginia's first possession, passing it out. They think they're going to get some extra yards. I don't think so. Buffs recover. Mind you, this is all in the first 4 minutes of the game. Now, next drive. Cody Hawkins handing off to Rodney Stewart. He's moving up. Like I said, this kid is someone to watch out for this year. Finally, Hawkins dropping back. Enough is enough. In the end zone for the touchdown. I'm exhausted. Let's go to the third quarter.
I'll take it over then. Third quarter, West Virginia got things going on the ground side with Jock Saunders, number 9. He had a decent game, 40 yards carrying. Pat White, though, story of the ball game. And here's the pass to Jala for the reception. That's 18 yards. Pat White right here drops back. But the QB choice with Byrne, that's the whole game. He just makes it look so easy. Look at that. Brad Jones. Oh, I'm sorry, Brad Jones. You're just not good enough. Pat White, video game-like. Ridiculous. 14-14. West Virginia fans, they're happy for now.
Overtime.
There we go. Overtime. CU fans ecstatic, doing the wave. But West Virginia got the ball first. Pat White still carrying the load. 19 carries, 148 yards. Are you kidding me? Noel Devine, over 100 yards too? This is just ridiculous. But it sets up this.
Oh, I can't watch.
And Stroink right off the upright. CU fans ecstatic. West Virginia fans bummed.
They don't look so happy. It's all right, though. CU, they're going to try to punch in for the touchdown. Nothing doing on this. Their line not doing well. Would this field goal go through? You better believe it. Up through the uprights. Fans, players rushing the field. CU is going to win 17-14 in overtime against West Virginia. Cody Hawkins, 22 for 33 with 2 TDs. Rodney Stewart, he had a pretty nice game, 28 carries for 166 yards.
So smart right there, 12 tackles, 10 solo, huge. But right now, let's take it to Hawkins, the fans, and the players.
Thank you to all the fans who came out and supported on Thursday night. Now we can commence with the questions. A few people came up and told me that, better not miss, whatever, stuff like that. But after that, I kind of tried to seclude myself over in the corner, just keep everything away.
We're happy to get the win today, and we came out and started fast, but we know there's a lot of room for improvement in the middle.
You do things right, and you do them consistently, guess what? Good things are going to happen to you on the football field, in the classroom, wherever. I drive coming in on Arapahoe every day, and maybe it's been there, I don't know, but I came over there the other morning, and the moon was just bigger than a silver dollar sitting over the Rockies, and I texted my wife. I said, hey, check it out, Eddie's watching. I said, I've never seen that before. And so, yeah, it's great to get one with his name on the field, and that was special.
So we got to get ready. We got to prepare, just like this is our Super Bowl, because this is our Super Bowl. It's the next one in a long line.
We're so spirited about this game. It was great. I mean, we made it out to the game if we could or we couldn't.
All the fans were there for support. It was amazing. There were tons of people, all blacked out. It was perfect. It was awesome.
Our defense did an excellent job.
Everything. The fans, being on national television, everything has to do with how you play. Exactly.
Run the ball straight up the middle, bam, field goal, and
I think we made it because we were all able to shut up and support our team.
Of course we have faith in our team.
You know what I like more about the blackout, though, is
What's that?
George Hippolyte.
Yeah, he's never at a loss for words, is he?
Never.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to send it over to Double Team. They're going to break down CU's victory against West Virginia. All that and more coming up after this. All right, we're going to send it over to Double Team. They're going to break down that game for us a little bit more.
With Devin and Amanda. So
guys, take it away.
Guys.
Hello, welcome to Double Team. I'm Devin Mosier, sitting alongside Amanda Blackwell, and we're going to talk about the West Virginia CU game.
Yes, we are. Exciting overtime win, but we do have to remember that they scored twice in the first 5 minutes and then did not score again until their Eric Goodman field goal in overtime. So there were obviously a few problems there, so let's talk about those to start out with, then we'll get to the more fun stuff of talking about the good stuff. Cody Hawkins did not have the best game of his life last night. He was 22 for 33. He had 179 yards. He did throw an interception, and he was responsible for that one fumble. The one thing we need to remember about Hawkins, though, is he's still very young. We see him on the field with so much poise. We see him in interviews with so much poise, but, you know, he's still only got 1 year of college experience under his belt. There's the interception he threw right there. And, you know, moving on to West Virginia, this team is fast, and it is big. They ran by us at times, just like right here. They made the Buff defense look silly sometimes, turned way too many corners.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, Cody himself is young, but also the rest of the offensive team and even some of the defensive players are young as well. So it's going to take a little bit of time for them to fully mature and come into their own right as players. Like you said, West Virginia is a huge team. I mean, standing next to them, we definitely looked a little, we didn't look as up to par as we should have. So unfortunately, that translated into a lot of tripped up running plays and a lot of fumbles and incompletions.
Yeah, and let's talk about West Virginia quarterback Pat White. You just saw his 39-yard touchdown run right there. He was the team's leading rusher with 148 yards on the ground, and he ran both of their touchdowns into the end zone. What does it say when a quarterback is doing that to a defense?
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot say that you have a solid team, and especially offensively, if your quarterback is the one running all the plays and getting the touchdowns. I mean, he is responsible for half the rushing yards alone for the team last night. So I mean, what that says about our defensive is that we're creating too many pockets for them to run through, and we're not putting the stop on their offensive team as much as we should have.
Yeah, but however, they only did give up 14 points last night, so they weren't, maybe we've been picking on them a little bit too much. Let's start talking about the good stuff about last night, because we did beat number 21 ranked West Virginia 17-14. And the best thing about last night's game, I think, was that they got off to a really fast start. They had 2 touchdowns in the first 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And I think without that, West Virginia really shut them down afterwards. Here's the first touchdown to Josh Smith to put the Buffs up 7-0. And they would have been shut down completely. They would not have won that game. It wouldn't have even gone to overtime, I don't think.
No, absolutely. The first 5 minutes showed a promising game, at least we thought, for the whole entirety of it. But unfortunately, the rest of it turned into kind of a stalemate back and forth up the field. But the positive side to that is that it shows that the Buffs defense was able to put the stop on West Virginia's team. And even though there's a lot of turnovers and the team was going up and down and not a lot of action happening, I mean, it shows that we were able to keep our game together.
Exactly, and let's talk about that defense. They did allow 311 yards on the ground, but they only gave up 14 points. They only allowed 43 passing yards. Not a great passing team, West Virginia, but they made the big plays when they needed to. They stopped them in overtime, right on the line there, and they held a dynamic West Virginia team to only 14 points. That's not a bad defensive showing right there.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, like you said, they showed up when they needed to, especially in overtime. I mean, I'm confident that had they not done what they needed to do in overtime and really stepped up to the challenge, that we wouldn't be looking at a win today.
No, we would not. We would be sitting here in not so great of moods, I think, right now. One of the biggest bright spots for the future of this Buff team is Rodney Stewart. Last night, 166 yards on the ground, 28 carries. And this is a guy that coming out of high school, no one wanted him. He grew up 10 minutes outside of Ohio State. They didn't even take a glance at him. Michigan, none of those schools around there, even looked at him. The only teams that had any interest in him were MAC teams like Eastern Michigan, Toledo, those types of teams, and even they were a little bit iffy about whether or not they wanted this guy.
Right, and he spent his senior year mostly on the bench, and so I think that shows a tremendous amount of foresight in the CU coaching staff to pick him up and give him the opportunity to have the great game that he had last night.
Right, and running back coach Darian Hagan was the one responsible for finding him, signing him, and I'm thinking the Buffs are pretty happy that they did after last night's game. He was the star of that game, I think. And finally, let's talk about the fans. You just came out in such great numbers last night, all wearing black, so much atmosphere, so loud that the West Virginia team had to move down to the other side of the field for their overtime because they didn't want to have to deal with the student section.
Definite intimidation, for sure.
Yeah, okay, well, that's going to do it for us on Double Team. Great job showing up, supporting your Buffs, and we'll send it back to the desk.
All right, fantastic, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good football game. Good analysis.
Extraordinary win.
It was great. All right, we're going to take another quick break here. We'll be back. We'll have a little soccer and a lot more coming up. All right, welcome back. The women's soccer team pulled off their 4th straight victory last Friday night, defeating Ole Miss 3-2 in overtime. Down 2-0 to start the second half, CU junior Nikki Marshall put the Buffs on the board with a header from Nikki Keller. Keller would tie things up with just 6 minutes left in regulation. It would only take 2 minutes into overtime, that seems to be a common theme, for Marshall to strike again, sealing the deal for the Buffs. Marshall's 2 goals puts her just 3 behind the all-time record for most career goals by a single player. And just after a day of rest, the women's soccer team was back in action, this time in Tennessee, taking on Memphis. CU dominated early in the first half, but it was Memphis who would strike first. Melissa Smith would put one past CU's keeper, putting the Tigers up 1-0. Now, like Friday, the Buffs would have to come from behind if they wanted to win, and that comeback would start with Alex Cousins, putting one in the back of the net to tie the game. The comeback was completed when freshman Kelly Butler buried the ball in the back of the net, giving CU the 2-1 victory. Colorado is now 6-2-1 on the season.
In an effort to raise awareness and fight breast cancer, the University of Colorado women's soccer team will be teaming with Qdoba Mexican Girl to sponsor the 7th annual Kick for the Cure. The Buffs will be sporting pink jerseys when they take on Gonzaga on Friday, September 19th, and Fresno State on Sunday the 21st. These jerseys will also be auctioned off with all proceeds going to breast cancer research. Donations on boxes will be made available at Printup Field, and fans are highly encouraged to wear pink. As always, admission to the game is free, and all profits will go to the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation.
All right, and back to CU star Nikki Marshall had 2 goals, including the game winner in an overtime last Friday to help give the Buffs a 3-2 win against Ole Miss. Now, Marshall's goal helped her receive their 7th Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week and this week's CU Sports Mag Athlete of the Week.
Coming from behind twice in one weekend is huge for us, especially on the road, just because it shows a lot of character, and I think Colorado really prides itself on character. I think it's awesome to be ranked in the top 25. I think we could be ranked a little bit higher just because I think we have a great program this year, and I'm excited to see what we do when we start the Big 12 conference and see if we can maybe move up a little bit in those rankings. But we're excited to be up there, and we hope we get some more recognition soon. Going into our Big 12 conference with 5-1-1 season, I mean, hopefully we can get a couple more wins this weekend, but it definitely provides a lot of momentum for us, and we're excited, and being at home is great. We love being at home. Our fans are awesome, so that'll also be a good motivation. I'm Nikki Marshall, CU Sports Mag Athlete of the Week.
All right, now Marshall wasn't the only Buff to receive an award this week from the Big 12. Junior goalkeeper Kristen Redlinski earned her 2nd Career Defensive Player of the Week award, while freshman midfield Kelly Butler earned the school's 2nd Newcomer of the Week this season.
Thursday night, the Buffs took on West Virginia at Folsom Field, as you all know. It was also blackout night for everyone in attendance. So you know what that means? ESPN was in the house. So this brings us to our trivia question. When was the last time the Buffs played a Thursday night football game? Well, stick with us, and you'll find out more to this mind-boggling question.
That is a good question.
I think I know who they played, but I'm not sure what the year was.
Well, we're going to take a quick break again. We're going to have the answer to that trivia question and a little volleyball coming up after the break.
The Colorado volleyball team lost their 3rd straight match Saturday night, this time at the hands of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Emily Cisco led the bus with 16 kills, and Lauren Schaefer had a team-high 7 blocks in the final match of the Colorado Invitational. CU had 90 digs for the first time since November of 2003. And the Tar Heels looked like they would run away with the match after the first set, but the Buffs gained some momentum by winning the second set. However, it wasn't enough as North Carolina beat CU for the first time in the two schools' head-to-head meetings, but the Buffs still lead the series against the Tar Heels 3-1. Let's talk CU women's volleyball. Maybe you've heard of Amber Sutherland or Alex Booth, but today everyone is talking about Alex Pennewell. The freshman got her first career start versus Kansas on Wednesday night. Pennewell led the team in blocks with 8, in kills with 14, and had the highest hitting percentage, a game chock full of lead changes. Tie scores and long rallies, the Buffs came out in a big way in Game 1, beating Kansas 25-18. But things started to fall apart when Kansas scored 5 unanswered points in Game 2. The Jayhawks finally took the game 28-26, and CU was visibly deflated. In Game 3, Kansas pounced on the flying Buffs and didn't let them lead once. The next game found Colorado clawing back. They tied the score 11 times. Then squeaked out the victory 26-24. Not to be outshined by Pennewell, though, Booth pounded 13 kills and 15 digs in the match. CU wrapped up the game with a string of 5 straight points to finish off the Jayhawks and 15-12. Alex Booth weighs in on the first Big 12 conference win.
Our main motivation was to win the first game of our Big 12 season, and that's what we did. And I think we all just needed to work together, and that's what we did. PE always tells us to have momentum because it just carries over into the next game. I think our confidence is booming right now. Kansas is an awesome team. They're an awesome team to beat. They're kind of like us, and so it's good to beat some competition. And Kansas State's even better, and so I think we're all going to come in with fire and with a lot of confidence. I think that's going to be the theme of the match.
All right. Well, joining us now is Kelly Samariva, who's going to give us a little bit more of a breakdown on the women's volleyball team. So, CU had lost their previous 3 matches. They started off strong, lost their previous 3. How do you think they fared in the Big 12 opener?
You know, I think they fared pretty well. The team won their last game, but let's not forget that it was a close one, going down to the wire in 5 matches. After CU won the first game, it seemed that it would be all Buffs, but they sort of let their guard down a little. I think that they needed to be pushed by Kansas. The team tends to struggle a little bit down the stretch in long matches. Head coach PIU said that the team played both good and bad. So, I think there was aspects that were good, and then, there are some things they need to work on.
Well, on that, what were some of the things that you thought the Buffs did well, and what are some of the things they still need to improve on?
Well, the good, definitely Alex Pennewell, the freshman in her first career start. She led the team with 14 kills and hitting percentage, hitting 60%. Pretty impressive. I mean, overall, the Buffs really played like a team. Everyone chipped in. The bad, just some basic errors. Service errors, always costly. Just a free point to the other team. Another thing that I want to touch on, Alex Booth and Amber Sutherland, the only ones on the team that had those service errors. But other than that, I want to talk about number 1 there in the left corner of your screen. That is Emily Cisco. She really I don't think she's gotten comfortable at the net yet. She's not moving her feet well, and I really think that, when a freshman is catching on to the play and, moving on the floor, and you're a junior and you're not there yet, I think that's something you really need to work on. I'm not saying it's easy to be a Big 12 athlete by any means, but I'm just saying that, she needs to pick up her game, and she needs to stop hitting into the block, move her feet, and, it's hard to play defense when you're 6'4", but play a little defense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, coming up for the Buffs, they're hitting the road again. What can you tell us about these upcoming matches?
Yeah, well, their next match is going to be against Kansas State. State is coming off of a loss to Nebraska in their conference opener. The match went 4 sets, kind of like the Buffs. But the Buffs, they're really going to have to shut down Rita Lilium. She had her 4th double-double in that game. She's also currently leading the Big 12 in kills, averaging 4.3%. So in the Colorado-Kansas State series, the Wildcats have also taken 14 of the last 24. Alex Booth needs to step it up in the game as well. So
now, you kind of talked. Big 12 is not an easy field to be playing in. So what are the Buffs going to have to do as a team to win those games?
Sure. Well, I mean, as a team, they've got to play really well. I mentioned Alex Booth. She needs to keep playing like a senior. She's leading the team in hitting right now. Amber Sutherland needs to continue to be the rock of consistency that she has been. She put down 12 kills and 8 digs in the last match. Of course, the defense is going to have to step it up for sure, especially against Lillian, like I talked about. Callie Webster, libero for CU, averages 20 digs per game. I'd like to see Colorado really pick it up down the stretch and finish a match convincingly. If they can keep the momentum going in their favor and cut down on things like service and hitting errors, CU is going to be a big presence in the conference. I mean, the girls have said over and over that they used last season to motivate them. It's on all of their minds, so it should be a good match. We'll see what both teams can do at the net, and we'll see if Colorado can stay undefeated in the Big 12.
Definitely. And, like you said, Big 12 is going to be a tough conference. They're already off to a better start than they were last year.
Yep.
So hopefully they'll be able to keep up the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, I know the girls are looking forward to the season, and I know we're looking forward to watching them. The fans really need to come out and support the team. Volleyball is really fun to watch, and lately there's been, 10 fans there. So.
Well, let's get more fans out there. Awesome. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. Coming up, we're going to have the answer to that mind-boggling trivia question, so stay tuned. Back to that mind-boggling trivia question. If you forgot the question, but I know you didn't, here it is again. When was the last season the Buffs played a Thursday night football game? The answer, 1990. Now, if you remember, this was the same year the Buffs won the national championship. Can you believe that? This is the same year that most of the freshmen, you people watching right now, were born. Think about that.
The CU men's golf team broke the school record for the best score in a 54-hole event at the Ron Moore Invitational in Denver this past Tuesday. The Buffs were paced by a pair of record-setting seniors. Patrick Grady won the event by tying a school best 12 under 204, while fellow senior Derek Tolan was not far off the mark, finishing with an 11 under 205. Tolan's round was just the fourth score of 11 under or better in the school history. The team finished with a combined score of 859, crushing second-place Air Force by 34 strokes. The team will be back in action later this month when they compete in the New Mexico Tucker Invitational in Albuquerque.
Whoa, okay.
Working on just going to the work life. I actually started working for the Daily Camera, and I like my job. I'm still working for them. But Nicole now lost her assistant coach. She had another job offer, and right now she's alone, so I told her that I'll help her out everything from now until she finds a new assistant. It's very different to being on the court and actually not be hitting and practicing with them, but telling them what to do. It's a little bit hard, and it's different because just last year I was playing with them, and now I'm playing with them, but from a different angle. When they got the news that I'll be volunteer, they were a little more worried about, what are the rules? We're not going to be able to hang out and this and that. And it's a little bit different. It's hard in that part, but they really like it, and they're happy that I'm still involved with the team.
All right, that was former CU tennis star Glacy Torres. Now, she is back with the Buffs for another season, but this time, as I'm sure you could tell, as an assistant coach. Torres graduated in May of 2008 with a degree in broadcast journalism and ethnic studies. Although she is working for the Boulder Daily Camera, she is also volunteering for her old team. Now, we obviously had a chance to catch up with her, and it seems like the team is glad she's back as a coach this year for another season.
CU quarterback Cody Hawkins put the football aside on Wednesday afternoon and focused on the students. He joined the group, Got Tuition, to spread the word about the rising costs of attending college. Sports Mag's Amanda Blackwell found out just what that group is all about.
There's no way I would be attending the University of Colorado if I wasn't here on a scholarship.
Cody Hawkins knows that other students aren't as lucky as he is. That's why he's out on campus to promote lower tuition costs with the program Got Tuition. Got Tuition is out here just trying to inform students about Amendment 58. It's just saying, hey, the average student loan debt at graduation last year was almost $19,000. By voting yes on 58, we can end the $300 million oil and gas subsidy and take that money, and that will help triple our student funding for scholarships and tuition. Amendment 58 spokesman George Merritt explains which Coloradans are most hurt by the rising tuition costs.
It's middle-class families that are feeling this, families that may not qualify for a federal scholarship, but still really feel it when their kids go to school. And those are the people that we're really trying to make a difference here.
Opponents of the issue believe that college will continue to become less affordable because the amendment does not cover construction or operating costs. But that's not stopping Hawkins and his classmates from creating awareness about the rising costs of tuition.
It's great to have Cody out here supporting the students of Colorado, talking to people about tuition, about the rising costs of higher education. It's excellent.
I have several friends who have had to move back. Actually, my roommate last year had to move back to Idaho because he just couldn't keep paying tuition just because scholarships were very, very hard to come by. So we're just trying to raise awareness. This is a big student issue that they can really help out on, and by voting yes on Amendment 58, we can better the scholarship funding for our school. Although I'm lucky enough to be on a scholarship, not everybody is. So I'm trying to do everything I can to help, because Colorado's a great place and nobody should be denied the opportunity to be here.
All right. Well, thanks, Cody. Now, it's going to be a busy weekend for the Buffs with 2 invitationals being held here in Boulder and 3 teams traveling across the country to represent CU. The first home event is the Colorado Invitational, hosted by the CU women's tennis team. Now, it will take place on Friday through Sunday.
Also, the Colorado Soccer Classic will bring the likes of Gonzaga, Denver, and Fresno State, that's a lot of Bulldogs, to battle it out on Printup Field. CU's piece of the action will begin against Gonzaga on Friday afternoon at 4.
And as for our Buffs going abroad, we have the women's golf team traveling to Albuquerque to compete in the UNM Invitational on Friday and Saturday. And the volleyball team will head east to Kansas to take on the K-State Wildcats. And finally, cross-country team will make its way to Ames, Iowa to compete in the ISU Invitational. It's going to be a busy weekend for the Buffs. No football. Obviously, our game was on Thursday.
Yeah, but we got Florida State coming up in a week and a half.
It's going to be a big week. You're going to want to make sure you're back with us in next week. That's all the time that we have for this show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.